hello, hello, hello. I think we should be good. I've changed things slightly in that I'm streaming on Twitch as well as YouTube today, and will likely do so for the foreseeable future, to actually get active on platforms again. But hello, hello. I hope we're doing well. I hope sound is good and everything is as should be. Everything looks like it's alright. YouTube is maybe chugging, but honestly I can't tell. It looks like it's going alright. I'm going to just double check the sound on there as well to make sure we're as should be, and then we can dive right in. Yeah, perfect. All looks good. Right. So, hello. Once again, we are back and we're working on Tilelands today because we are supposed to be releasing the 2.0 update of this game like this week. And I've not gotten the stuff sorted that I need to get sorted to have that happen. So, what I'm probably going to do today is work on, I imagine, some of the updates for the leaderboard system. Or we might add some new features as well. We'll see. I've got like a vague list of stuff over on ClickUp, which I've got down on my other monitor. And there's also like a bunch of feedback that came from people on Steam as well, which I really want to try and implement as much of that as possible. So maybe we'll focus on that today, actually, instead of some of these other features which are kind of graphics dependent, and I don't want to go too deep onto them until we've got those graphics finalized. So maybe that's what we do, in which case let me pop open Visual Studio real quick and we can get that spinning. And I'm going to try and keep an eye on chats in both places at the same time while we're going. Make sure everything is as should be. Let's see, have we got Visual Studio? We do. Let's plonk away. Come here, plonk that on this desktop. And then I'm going to grab Tilelands on Steam and whack that up on this desktop, because I mean, for those of you who don't know, who may be new, who may be jumping in for the first time, Tilelands is a minimalist city building strategy game about managing and optimizing buildings using a limited deck of tiles, as stated right here in the page. But we got very fortunate in that the game was played by both Alexa and Real Civil Engineer over on YouTube. So it got a decent amount of traction from that, and has also then given a bunch of really valuable feedback, which I want to again grab from the community and start implementing some of that stuff. But I am having a slow brain day, and yeah, I need to just get in here. Here we go. So this was a really good thread from a couple of the users with a whole bunch of feedback in it, which I really, yeah, like I say, I want to try and get a lot of this stuff implemented, and take a view for what kind of stuff is coming through. Like, yeah, take a view for what I can implement relative to that. So things that I had pulled out from this paragraph here, I definitely wanted to add in the addition of something like an engineer, mentioned down here, which, yeah, like this person has said, it behaves the same as a worker, just with some more advanced interactions. So it'd be like an extra layer of upgrade features on top of the basic worker. So that one's actually going to be relatively straightforward to put together, I think, because of the way that I've built things out. So first things first, let's duplicate our worker quest. Call it an engineer. We'll update all the values here as well. So this is going to be exactly the same as the worker. Pretty much when activated, the engineer will be expended to upgrade the tile it's currently stood on to something new. Very good, very nice. And then I will duplicate the worker prefab as well, and we're going to rename this to engineer. And I can reuse a lot of the same scripts, basically, because it's exactly the same across all the things. I'm going to assign a new GUID to this prefab, which hopefully shouldn't break the implementation. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Adam, hello, welcome. I'm streaming on Twitch as well. Are you proud of me? You're proud of me, not just streaming on YouTube. Although, to be fair, I think I need to build up some more consistency over on Twitch first before I get anything out. And there was a notification punted out into the server for the stream. At least there has been on my side. If notifications aren't working properly, that's something I need to look into in the Discord. But we can cross that bridge later. That's not get into it. Right, let's have a look at this engineer. I am going to give him a makeshift. Do I want to give him a makeshift hat? I don't think I do. But I feel like I need to recolor him in some capacity, so I might just make him yellow, like a little minion, before we get an engineer graphic actually in. And then it's just like a super simple case of going in here and updating the tile improvements to match with different things. Yeah, that's literally it. Let's update this with the engineer quest data as well. And theoretically, that is everything I need to do to actually get the engineer added in. Yeah, so then it's extra things like adding in a sawmill, multiplies wood gained by 3 for every connected lumberjack. Nice, that would be cool. So yeah, like the person says, it's similar to a lighthouse over here. Need to update my bio with the new... Ooh, yeah, let's do that. I might do that in a second. Or actually, no, I'll do it now. We'll go ahead and update everything with the new server link. Maybe I should make a new account to stream to instead of just using the updated. I wonder. I'll decide that later. But for now, let me go ahead and put that new server link into Twitch. What am I doing? I literally just had the page. I closed Twitch. That's not what I wanted to do. Channel. There we go. Links. Join our Discord. Exclamation mark. Link URL. Paste. Add. Discord. Let's put that right up at the top. Sweet. Okay, that should be on the page now. I'll verify that in a minute. Right, okay. Back on what we're doing. So this is an extra thing here that is kind of funky that this person's suggesting, which is adding additional interaction types for the workers. and that's going to be kind of difficult. I need to figure out how I'm going to do that because it will change some implementation, but that will probably be one of the things that I work on after we tick off some of the sort of lower hanging fruits that we got here. Can I add paste it into chat too? Yep, here we go. Discord, join the Discord, bang bang bang, there we go. Let's pin that. Pin, there we go. And on Twitch as well, pin. Boom, amazing. Look at me, like a professional. Right, where do we start? Because I'm aware we're like 15 minutes in already and we've basically done nothing. Yeah, oil rig, wind turbine, lighthouse, quite useless. But they are quite challenging to build at the same time. So we need to do some balancing there. Wind turbine should add 2 points passively every turn. Actually, I quite like that idea because it's like an eco thing. So let's go ahead and do that. Where is my building scripts? Buildings, implementations, wind turbine. And what I will want to do is add, I think, action, and let's make this code a bit bigger as well so it's not super tiny on screen. You guys can actually see what we're writing instead of the tiny mess that is my high resolution. Unfortunately, that will kind of be the way it is inside Unity, I'm afraid, but yeah, we'll get there. It's iPost actionable. iPost actionable. Wait, what do you mean? Oh, iAction. Why have I called it iAction? That's not particularly helpful. So actionable, I am just going to have be true every time. And then the execute post action, we're basically going to return or increase score by some set value, set passive value. So these are going to be like parks effectively. I think what we could probably do is also check to see if they're connected to a power station. And if they are, then they could maybe yield double whatever that reward is. So let me go ahead and start defining some of these things. We're going to have a private integer for passive reward, and then we'll have a private int for the powered passive multiplier, like that. It sounds like a plan. Yes, that's fine. That's fine. Everything's still good. It's really weird, like, having to manage looking at Restream and then checking that everything is still streaming fine on the... It's like I can get all of the chat in... I can have it as an overlay. I feel like that's something I need to look into. That is definitely something I need to look into. Oh, I clicked on the one called LOL, and it's, I forget League of Legends is a thing. Deary me. Never again. Right, stop fiddling, stop fiddling. We'll come back to that later. I need to do things, make stuff happen. Cool, right, okay. So I'm gonna just close a bunch of these things up top because there's a whole lot of stuff that I really don't need, but I do want to double check how I am giving people points when stuff is harvested, or like when a post action occurs, because it's been a while. I can't remember. Let me think. What is something that I'm doing that with? I think I'm probably doing it in the windmill. Windmill. There it is. Perfect. Yeah, so we just change the score and invoke an event. Fantastic. I'm going to just copy this. I think I have a static value. Yeah, post action delay time. Perfect. So what we're going to do in here is let's just do the basic passive reward for the time being. So we're going to say basically exactly this, but we're going to use our passive reward instead of our field cut bonus, and we will yield return new wait for seconds, and that's going to be s underscore post delay time divided by 1000 because it's in milliseconds. And then I also want to return this score because that's what we actually use to do things in the game manager. I have a feeling I might be doubling up scores. Return post effect score change. Where are we calling this? Handle post effects. Okay, cool. So we're not actually doing anything with that score change. Nice. Yeah, I've got a to-do here for doing some things for player scoring mad fat stacks in one turn, but I clearly did not do that. So let's just yield return new yield return passive reward. Cool. That gives us a basic passive behavior for our windmills now, which is fantastic. And I set myself up a way of testing this nicely. With my tile debug draw pack in the wait table here, I can just go ahead straight away and set this to be my wind turbine. And then when we go ahead and play, I want to make sure that I turn down the music in the settings as well. Oh. Oh, wait, I don't think I have Steam open. I can't play the game without having Steam running because it's using the Steam API and it will look for a Steam client. So if you try to boot the game without Steam running, it will immediately error out and give you problems. I should probably do a check on it and just say, like, in production, we do an application.quit so that it doesn't complain. Maybe display an error message and then let people click OK and it can just quit out. That's the leaderboard. I want the settings. Music volume all the way down. Sound effects all the way up. Oh, I need to actually make sure I go ahead and give myself the actual debug to use instead of the default. There we go. Lots of wind turbines. They're looking lovely. Put one down there. That gave us nothing because I've set the thing to nothing. But we are getting passive scores on each of them. So what I'd also like to do is give it the little ping animation that I do using this line here. So every building has a visual spring on it, which I think is the scale. There's also one that does the position. I can never remember which one's which, but we have them, so we can do a little animation there. And then of course I want to go into onto the actual building itself, the windmill, and I want to, not the windmill, sorry, the wind turbine, and give it a passive reward of 2. And we'll give it a multiplier of 2 as well, so if it's powered, it'll yield 4, but we still need to set up that powering feature. There's also a weird bug, which I haven't been able to track down, where sometimes it switches the value for the music volume and the sound effects volume. And that's a really weird one. We might have to track that down today as well. Yeah, there we go. +2. +2, +2. Nice. So they're now like kinda OP, not gonna lie. If you manage to get loads of windmills, you'll end up generating a whole lot of stuff. But that's okay. We'll have to figure out some way to probably balance that separately, which I think we can figure that out. We can figure that out. Let's add in some checks for if this is powered. Now, I have another place where I've done something similar, which I think... Oh, we also need to give it an update for the 2-string as well. And we're gonna use, again, much the same thing that we have in here. Passively yields an eco bonus of passive reward points per turn if connected. Oh wait, no, let's do this on a new line. sb.append line. And in this one we will say if connected to a power station. Maybe let's make this adjacent actually, because I think connected is going to be way too much. If adjacent to a power station, eco-friendly bonus is multiplied by powered reward multiplier. Fantastic. And then we just have to make sure that this isn't set to 0, because then if you power it, you'll get nothing for actually being next to the thing. We definitely don't want that. So let's go ahead and implement that system. I would like a serialized field, private building data SO, and this is going to be the power station building data. And then what we can do is say var bonus score equals passive reward. So we'll have that be the default. And then we can say if occupied tile dot grid dot get adjacent tiles of type and it's going to be our grid position. So occupied tile dot grid position, and the type is going to be our power station. And we'll check if the count is greater than 0. Then we can say bonus score times equals our powered passive multiplier. And then let's go ahead and use the passive reward, the bonus score instead of the passive reward. And what we probably also want to do is make sure that we go through here and check to see if the power stations themselves are powered, because I think that's something that I put in place, where a power station is deemed powered if it's got so much coal. If that isn't the case, I probably want to add that. Or does it make sense to be doing this with power stations? Potentially not. Potentially it makes more sense to have it be for if they're connected to like a city instead of a power station. So they just generate your eco score, but then if they're connected to a city, and maybe if that city also isn't connected to a power station, because it's like eco-friendly power source, I guess, then it just generates that many things. We'll see. For the time being, I'm going to leave it as just being connected to power stations. I think that's a little easier. Or a little smoother for the time being, anyway. Where did it go? What am I doing? Wind turbine. There we go. Power station. And good. Everything's in place. Let's update our debug tile pack to also have a power station in it. Power station. And then we can check and see if this is working. It's given me a lot of wind turbines, and it's because I didn't actually add the thing to the pack. Good job, me. Good job. Power station. Chance of 25. That's added in. Hit play. There we go. And look, there it is. Switch the values. That's really weird. I don't understand why that's a thing. So we're definitely going to have to take a look at that in a second. Good. So there's our wind turbine. There's 2. There's our power station. There's 4. Amazing. Going to end up with loads of power stations around the place now. And let's just make sure it's only doubling the ones that are adjacent. So we'll stick one down here as well. Yep, 2, 4, 4. Perfect. That is that one done. Let's look at our settings. Settings. Oh, there's so many scripts. Editor settings. Nope, that's Fmod. Settings. Also Fmod. Settings editor. Fmod. Settings manager. And settings menu view. Perfect. So we're going to be looking at the settings manager. And what we're doing is saving stuff with player prefs. So master volume is going to master volume, music volume is going to music volume, sound effects volume is going to sound effects volume. Good. Make sure I've got everything the right way around up here as well. Music, sound effects. That's all good. Everything's correct there. So when I set master volume, that's master volume, set music volume, that's music volume, and set sound effects volume, that's sound effects volume. Okay. Clash, hello. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you here. I am battling potentially logic on my part issues for the settings in the game. Some reason when you start up the game, I don't know if it happens in production, but definitely in the editor, when I boot up the game, it flips the values for what's been set for the sound effects volume and the music volume. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on there, because it doesn't really add up, unless it could be something going on in the settings menu itself, where when it initializes these values, it's actually like firing off the notification, but then, you know, I've told it not to. So unless I'm returning the wrong things, but we have just checked that this is doing get float music, that's doing get sound effects, music vol, sound effects vol. Yeah, everything is as should be. It all looks correct, so I'm not sure what the deal is there. How long does it take to be a proper game dev? Oh, that's I mean, you know, I would say it depends how you define proper game dev. I think if your definition of proper game dev is you've released a commercial game, then like realistically 6 months, because that's kind of like, if I wasn't procrastinating terribly, 6 months would be how long it would have taken to get Thailand's released on Steam. And to be fair, I would have loads of other games out by now as well, that I've started working on, given up on, or like had to sideline because of, you know, other priorities. But yeah, realistically 6 months to release a game on Steam. If you've got no experience whatsoever, like never written a line of code in your life, probably maybe 12 months. But, you know, honestly, I would say proper game dev doesn't necessarily entail having released a game on Steam or released a game onto platforms. You know, if you're making stuff and you understand how to solve problems or you understand how to design games, then it really can vary from being like, you know, 2 months all the way up to 2 years or even longer, just depending on what game you're making, how long it's going to take to make, and again, what you define for yourself as proper game dev, because it's completely variable. It can be different for different people. I would borderline class myself as a proper game dev because I, you know, up until very recently was not doing it full time, and even now it's like the question of how sustainable is doing it full time. So you know, there's elements there of can I continue to both pay myself, pay my team, be able to live off of what I'm doing, which are all things that, you know, I'm working to figure out at the moment, which is why we have things like a Patreon, and we're looking to do more collaborative deals with other companies, looking at publishing, crowdfunding, all the rest of it. But yeah, to circle back around and hopefully give you a TLDR for what was realistically a very wordy answer to your question. It completely depends what you define as a proper game dev. I think on average, you're probably looking at 6 to 12 months if you have some experience, or if you have absolutely no experience whatsoever. As long as you've got the drive and the passion to make something, pick a simple idea, get cracking on it, and just release it. Because even if it's like not unique or not different, doesn't sell like millions of copies, you're still a proper game dev because you've made a game and shipped it, which is a lot more than most people can say. So hopefully that's a reasonable answer for your question there. And just from that, I have found where the mistake is. We are setting the sound effects volume with the music volume value instead of the sound effects value. So let's switch those back around. And now we should be in the money. Oh, thank goodness. I have been trying to find that since before the game went out in November. And oh, that's ridiculous. That is quite ridiculous. There we go. There we go. Good. All right. Let's hop back over here and take a look at some of the other stuff. Person wants to have the lighthouse to multiply fish points by 5 instead of 2. Don't know how I feel about that. That's a bit much. I'd maybe go up to 3, but multiplication compounds very quickly. So I don't really want to, unless I maybe make it so that it increases the chance of spawning fish as well. I don't really want to up it all that much, because that would be like a considerable boost. Oil rig +5 for generating oil, which can be used by some other building. Yeah, that's definitely something that I want to do. So I would like to, actually, with the power stations, they're looking at adjacent or connected power coal quarries, yeah, to get coal. I should also have them look at oil rigs so that they can take oil. So let's go ahead and add in building data SO for a oil rig data. And then we're basically going to do a similar thing to what we've done here, where rather than we're basically just going to do the same thing again. Looking at oil rig data, and this is going to be adjacent oil rigs. Cool. Rename you to oil rig, and let's go ahead and update our oil rig class to have some of this stuff. Yeesh. Okay. Gotta write everything from scratch. So let's pop open the quarry, and I'm probably gonna use a lot of this as boilerplate. Maybe I have it so that engineers interact with oil rigs to get oil, and oil is worth like 15 coal. So it's just like immediately powers or immediately stocks the power station. That could be a good shout. So with that in mind, I probably need to make an additional class or an additional activatable unit for like an interaction thing, like a tile interaction rather than a tile upgrade. Because how am I doing it with the villagers? Actually, let me pop open my villager script. I should just search villager quest. So yeah, he's got the eye activatable, and he is just saying if activatable is true, which, how am I checking activatable? Grab the data for the building that we're occupying and then check to see if it's in our list of things. Cool, that's fine. What I want to figure out is if there's like a nice way that I can build out these interactions without having to just like create a new class or write a whole bunch of stuff in code. It would be nice to have a excuse me, like a design friendly way to do that. Yeah, I'm not sure how I want to approach that yet. But basically what we'll look to do is create a new class called tile interaction perhaps, and we can have that do basically the exact same thing as what's happening in here, and have it so that when we activate it we just trigger or fire off an event. Oh dear, I've got the yawns. Fire off an event which can then complete the quest. Complete the quest manually, or perhaps grab yeah, because it's public, so I can just grab the quest component and fire it off like that. Okay, let's do that. So we can, oh yeah, I can probably tie it to the thing itself, perhaps. We'll see. What am I doing? What am I doing? Grid system, don't want to be in buildings, I want to be in quests, and I'm going to create or no, maybe I'll just create it at the top level grid system. I'm going to create a new C# script, and I'm going to call it tile upgrade activation. Like we say, this is going to be activatable. Let's implement that interface so it doesn't scream at us as soon as it compiles. Come on. There we go. And like I say, this is going to be kind of similar to the villager quest, which I would like to put over this side, such that we have a dictionary, which means I probably want this to be a serialized mono behavior, which, for anyone who doesn't know, this is a feature of the Odin Inspector plugin for Unity, which if you want to do game development, you should have this plugin. If you're using Unity, that is, you know, if you're using like Godot or Unreal Engine, I don't know if, actually, yeah, I kind of want to check that. Odin Inspector for Unreal. No, it's not that. No, I think it is a Unity only plugin. Oh well. Point is, it makes like stuff in the inspector in Unity much nicer. Like usually in Unity you wouldn't be able to see dictionaries in the inspector because they're not serializable. There's a bunch of other primitive, or not primitive, but like standard C# data set implementations like hash set, queues, stacks, which you can't serialize in the inspector. Odin's serialized mono behavior lets you do those kind of things. There's also like a bunch of tools for making custom inspectors way easier. Like I can just add an attribute here called button, which if I do that and save, let's go ahead and put this onto our engineer, because then we can demonstrate why this is so cool. So yeah, we've now got this invoke thing here, if I go back onto this button and apply a button or a style, say style equals button style dot box, then in the inspector over here, we actually get a nice, or we should get a nice square button here, activatable, which when we press it, it will fire off this event and give us back the value in the inspector with this result parameter here, which you probably can't see on stream because it's really small, but it's really handy. Instead of having to, you know, go and create a whole separate class like you would usually have to do, and then put it in an editor folder, have it extend all the editor stuff using all the legacy code, it's just like bleh, pain in the backside. So much nicer to use the Odin inspector, and it really is a godsend. Let's make our dictionary, and it's going to be of building data SO for the key. So that's going to be the building that we want this to be able to activate on. And then I think we're going to have a func, which should be, or maybe we want this to be an IEnumerator, because we're putting in some coroutine is what we want to have in there. Only problem is I can't set that in the inspector. Not ideal. So maybe we make a new interface. Oh yeah, let's do that. So I'm going to rename this to tile engineer, or let's call it engineer activation. Engineer activation. Make sure we rename this file as well. And then rather than having an IEnumerator in here, let's create ourselves a new public interface called IEngineerable. And this is going to have a public IEnumerator engineer like that. So then we can have our IEngineerable in these slots. And this is going to be our engineerable tiles. And when we activate, we'll say if not activatable, we return. Otherwise, yield break. Let's do that. Otherwise, grab the tile we're stood on as an IEngineerable and engineer it. Nice and easy. And maybe we have some like number of times that the engineer can be activated. And this is where I also then need to think, have I got some toString stuff in the villager? The answer is no. Fantastic. That's very, very handy. Let's have a private abstract quest. Host villager quest, I'm going to call it. Yeah, that's cool. We'll have a serialize field, private int max activations, which I'm going to set equal to 3 by default. So that's something that I want to be able to override in here as well, to make sure that we don't expend our engineer. The engineer should be able to do everything that the villager can do and what the engineer can do, but do it 3 times instead of just once, because at the moment when you expend a villager, he just disappears. I want this to instead decrease the private int. Oh my gosh, can't type. Private int activation count. There we go. Let's have an awake. Maybe I'll have it as start. We'll say host villager quest equals get component. No, I definitely want it as in awake. And let's just grab the villager quest, do it as it is, instead of getting the abstract. Like I say, we want to do that in awake because we want it available as soon as this object is ready. And then let's copy a whole bunch of stuff. So we're not doing any post actions on this one, so I can ignore this method completely. Yeah, it's this check completion. Although I suppose what I can do is... No, I can't do that. I was going to say I can just go in here and override expended based on how many activations we have left, but it's not... there's a thought. I could just make this virtual and override the thing entirely. Yeah, bun it, let's do that. So rather than doing all of this like we're doing right now, we're instead going to override villager quest. So this is going to be our engineer quest. Great. Again, need to make sure we rename this file because mono behaviors need to be the only class, or well, they need to be in a file with the same name. There we go, problem solved. And then we want to make sure all of these are either public or protected. So let's make this a protected list, make this a protected bool, make that protected, and make that protected. We'll also give our let's give our iEngineerable a public string engineer action, which is going to be get private set. Or actually, we could just have it be a get. We don't even need to set it because it's never going to change. Fantastic. And then you need to be an override. We'll do base.awake. And then we don't even need to grab the host villager. We don't need to do that. Yeah, we don't need to do that anymore because we are the villager quest. Fantastic. So now we can override check completion. Rather than just returning expended, we'll return activation count is less than or equal to max activations, and we'll actually say not. So we'll return not activation count is less than max activations. Greater than or equal to is the same as less than. So we can just return that. Let's go ahead and do that as a one-liner because I like one-line methods. You're going to be an override bool activatable. I think we're going to do base or yield return base dot activatable. Oh, you're a boolean. Okay, so we'll say if not Yeah, if not base dot activatable. Oh no, what am I doing? If base dot activatable, we return true. If that's not the case, we will do basically the exact same thing that it's doing already. But we're going to return if our engineerable tiles has that. Yeah, let's make sure we mark this as virtual as well. Amazing. Activate manually is going to be true. I don't think we need that in here. We can just do what the base is. Activate, we need that to be virtual. Actually, no, we don't need it to be virtual. We're just, oh, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. But we are going to copy paste some stuff, which isn't ideal, but, you know, needs musts. Cool. So yeah, if we're not activatable, do nothing. Otherwise, let's first of all check if well, yeah, let's grab the tile that we're stood on. So var occupied tile equals occupying tile dot occupying building dot building data. Occupied tile data. Let's do that. And then no, I do want to get the building. I do want to get the building. Because then we can say if occupied tile is engineerable. Or maybe occupied, yeah, let's do that, if occupied tile dot try get component out type, well, yeah, engineerable, then we can say yield return engineerable dot engineer. Great. And then yield break. Otherwise, we do base dot activate. Yield return base dot activate. No, I don't want to do that because I don't want it to expend. So yeah, like I said, we're going to copy paste. Copy, paste. So complete rotation, spring. We don't need to ping that yet. We've got that, so this is going to be our building data. It's going to equal occupied tile building data. Let's keep it simple. Upgrade with our building data, fantastic. And then we can do a final check to say if check completion, we will completion rotation spring dot ping and yield return complete quest. Cool, that ought to do it. And then, with all that in place, we should be able to remove the, wait, what? Save. There we go. Now we should be able to remove the villager quest class from our engineer. Good stuff. Let's fill out all this gubbins. Engineer data, engineer spring controller, the rotation controller, occupying tile is nothing. We're not adding in any walkable tiles yet. Activation indicator. I'm gonna have to pop this prefab open. What am I doing? Activation indicator, upgrade result indicator is the tile preview. Engineerable tiles, let's make that a dictionary so it's at least empty. Max activation is 3. Okay, that is that set up. Let's actually go ahead and add the stuff to our oil rig then. So we're going to give this engineerable. The string is going to be the string will be harvests. Oh yeah, stocks the oil rig, stocks the oil. Whoops, oil rig with oil. Woo! Careful. Oil can be used. Oh, wait. Or yeah, oil is equal to 15 coal. Cool. So then here's a question. Do we have like a stock of oil, or do we have just if it's stocked or not? I think for the time being I'm going to say if it's stocked or not, because otherwise it's going to be like supremely OP. But maybe I want it to be supremely OP because it's relatively late game. Like you have to surround a quarry with ocean to get a oil rig, which is it's kind of considerable effort. But we'll leave it as is for now, and then pause it for later. Depends how much work you're willing to put into it. Is that I'm going to assume that's in reference to the previous question. If it's not, please let me know what it's in reference to, and I will respond accordingly, because I was fully in the zone. Right, yeah. Serialized field. Ooh, do I want a serialized field? Or do I want to... Let's take a look at the power station. Yeah, reference to the previous question. Cool, cool, cool. No worries. Yeah, it is take stock. So maybe let's public void take stock. It's not going to be a void. It's going to be an int. Yeah. We're going to have to do it similar. What language is this? This is C#. I'm developing in Unity. So yeah, C#. I was going to go somewhere else with that, but no, yeah, Unity uses C# as its language. So that is what I'm working with. It's quite nice actually, because my initial background in code was Java. So C# was like Microsoft's competitor to Java, and the syntax is like really, really similar, as are a lot of the features, which is cool. So I'm quite familiar with kind of what things need to be, yeah, what things need to be where. So that's quite nice. Hey, Barnacle's here on the secondary account. Nice to see you. Glad you could make it. We've still got like easily another hour left on the stream, so don't fret about potentially missing any. And like I say, I'll maybe bump it a bit later on because it's kind of tight starting a stream at 2:30 in terms of coordinating that with when I might have lunch. So I'll probably end up streaming from like 3:30 until 5:30, 5, possibly even later, depending on if we're in a flow or not. But yeah, don't stress. All will be well. Right. Oh, I need to sneeze. But it's not coming. Gah. Have mercy. Right. So we're gonna have to make this savable like we did in like the last stream that I did ages ago, which wasn't on Twitch, but that means we need to do a public override void restore state, and we're pretty much going to do a load of similar stuff to what we've got here. We're also going to have a private void update building data, which is going to do update all of our stuff. Oh, nice. That's cool. Are you working on a game at the moment, or are you AAA, indie? What realm are you in? I'd love to see some of the stuff that you work on. It's always one of my favorite things of doing YouTube game dev is seeing what everyone else is working on, because it's, you know, it's super inspiring seeing what other projects people are working on. And as well, I'll clarify that now too. I'm not technically, I say not technically, I'm not really solo. I've got a small team of 4 people, realistically. It's mainly me, but then I've got my girlfriend Adele, who is a graphic designer and very good at art. She did all of the visuals for Tilelands and is being very, very helpful and handy with sorting out visual updates for it and graphics for other games as well. And then we've got Felix, who is a primarily game designer but also programmer, who's working on the next project that we want to release, which I'll probably end up talking a whole bunch more about soon. And then Alex, who is a systems developer and helps out a lot with some of the code stuff. So that's really, it's nice to have those guys involved. Yeah, it's very fortunate that they're willing to be on board. I think a big part of it is just like transparency around, you know, making sure everyone's on the same page with regards to how finances get shared when we get to that point. Just, I think that the main thing is we're all kind of eager and like we want to be doing game development full time. And I've kind of taken the role of being the primary driving force. and handling all of like the business admin. Like we have an official business entity now, like a real actual thing, setting up all the business accounts, sorting out like revenue share agreements, things like that. All the stuff that people don't want to do when they're doing game dev is like my end. And then as we start to grow and start to get more revenue from the various streams that we have, like the Patreon page, game sales, publisher agreements, hopefully in the future, you know, those kinds of things, it means that as long as we're having those open conversations, everyone's happy to be involved. And, you know, don't slam Roblox game dev as well, because actually, like, I've seen some of the stuff that people make in Roblox, and it's actually insane. Like, there was an FPS which looked better than Call of Duty that someone had made in Roblox, and I was just like, damn, this is amazing. So, you know, yeah, don't bash it. And also Lua is a great language as well. If you look at things like Love 2D, which I think was the engine that they used for Balatro, and that's a wildly successful game. So, you know, the tool doesn't really matter. It's just your approach to problem solving and how devoted you are to executing. We've got Ronaldo Torres. Hello. Graduated in associate in computer science. It's like half a bachelor's in computer science. Remember when I worked on my theatre motivated, now I forgot how to get. I feel that. I was doing a degree apprenticeship in computer technology effectively, and I dropped out halfway through, or like 3/4 of the way through, because I had some health stuff come up. And because it was a degree apprenticeship, it was like we were in work at the same time as doing the degree. So it just wasn't really worth it to me to finish the degree when I was doing all of this much more applicable stuff in working. But like, you know, I think something that's really important to remember as well, that people worry a lot about when it comes to coding, is knowing how to code isn't knowing a language or understanding how to write like crazy algorithms necessarily or anything like that. It's just understanding problem solving. Like if you know how to solve problems and you have an awareness of the kind of basic features that any language should have, like, you know, loops, for loops, while loops, branching, if statements, switch cases, basic variables, things like that. If you've got an awareness of them and you understand, okay, here's my problem, I need it to do this, I could do it in this way, then don't even worry about, like, if you know the language or know how to code, because you can Google all that stuff. And I Google all that stuff on a daily basis. You know, I've been doing coding for, what, like 12, 13 years at this point, because I started when I was 9, or so it's more than that, it's like 15 years. Yeah, I started when I was 9, and I'm 24 now. So, but even after all that time, I sometimes have to Google how to write a for loop because I just don't remember the syntax. That's like, that's not what programming is. It's not remembering syntax. It's knowing how to problem solve. So if you can do that, you can program. Don't even stress it. Right. Let's start getting some of this logic popped in here. So we will, we're going to have an integer, do I want it to be a public integer? No, I probably want it to be private. Yeah, private int. Whee! Start again. Int stocked oil. That's step 1. We don't need to worry about things like turn since last mine or the mining cooldown, because we're having engineers do that. Yeah, I think that's actually all we need. So let's create a key for that as well. Private const string stocked oil key. So like, this is what I'm using for the save system, and is probably not the best way to do it. But you know, we move. And then in the update building thing, we will again do the same thing that we've got going on here, where we say data.unique data equals new list. unique data item. No, there we go. And it's going to be stocked oil key, and we're going to pass in our stocked oil. .toString. Like this is one example of where I'm like, I need to think of a better approach. I'm basically saving all of the data for the game as strings in like a JSON file, so you could technically really easily cheat. I think what I really need to do is encrypt that save file with some key that the player can't access, and then decrypt it. Either that or save the files to cloud storage and not let the player have them locally. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, same. Just reading the message, personally, what you love about programming is the end result of what you make. That's absolutely the case for me as well, which I think is why I picked game development as the my primary programming discipline, because you actually get tangible results. Like, I remember when I was working as a software engineer, like 4-5 years ago, it was dealing a lot with enterprise software, and most of it was like fixing bugs and running tests, and that kind of was like, it didn't really, like, you didn't get anything tangible out of it, so I didn't find it particularly fulfilling. It was interesting still, but not like, it didn't give me the same sense of satisfaction as when I can go into Unity and, you know, make like loads of little people walk around the place, like I did in the new prototype I'm working on, which I posted over on the studio's Twitter page. But yeah, it's just, you want to have something tangible at the end of it, so you can look back and be like, oh yeah, I've made something cool here. Learning about coding a lot nowadays, so understand the for each loop on the screen right now. Awesome, that's good, because that, I think, you know, even compared to like previous streams that you've watched where you look and you've been like, I don't know anything that's going on right now. But that's awesome, that's really cool to hear. Are you looking at Unity primarily as well, or are you doing more stuff in Godot, or just coding in general? Could be raw C#, you know. Right, now I need to think, how do I want to take stock? I think I could probably just take all of it. That's probably how it's working in the quarry, right? Yeah, that's it. So we're going to say stock to give equals stocked oil multiplied by oil to coal value. So let's make this as a private serialized field. Nope, not filed. Field private int oil to coal value. I wonder if I can use that in here. Like, can I have some string interpolation? I can. Fantastic. So then I can say stocked oil equals 0. We'll update the building data here as well, and then we can return stock to give. Let's also make this default value 15, and we'll check in the inspector as well. And then when we engineer, we're basically gonna do the same as what it's doing in the harvesting here. Not the harvesting, sorry, the mine. Yeah, this step where we'll ping it and we will increase our stock. So we're going to have to do some rejigging here. Whee! Let's not do it twice. And then yield return 0. 0. Cool. There's some stuff in your programming language that you're too lazy to learn. Does that ever happen to you? Absolutely, yes, it does. I'm only, like, to be fair, I think a large part of it is it's a combo of being too lazy to learn, but also just not having the time to learn stuff that I necessarily want to learn. Like, I recently did a deep dive into starting to learn about the universal render pipeline in Unity, which is a whole different ordeal. Because I think at a basic level as well, languages themselves are kind of like, there's not a lot to them. So like C#, yeah, C#, Java, Lua, whatever it may be, they all kind of have, like I say, the same basic composite components. They'll have some way of making a number, some way of iterating over stuff, some way of branching through logic. And then you have the, well, yeah, that's basically it. And then everything else is either libraries that you're using, or libraries that come shipped with that language, like the link API that comes with C#, which is the same as the streams API in Java. Things like multi-threading, like it's basically extra stuff built on top of the language, shipping it as a product. So I mean, you don't necessarily need to learn that they exist. It will save you time in the long run for sure, because it means you won't try and reinvent them yourself, which I've definitely done multiple times. But it's also like useful to know how those systems work under the hood, because maybe you need to make your own version. Like, for example, with a stack, there is a default implementation for the stack data structure in C#, but it doesn't necessarily do the things that I want a stack to be able to do. So it maybe makes more sense for me to just make my own stack implementation and use that instead. It completely depends on, you know, yeah, what you need to do. Can't AI do all of this? Yes and no. You know, in good part, it absolutely can. I absolutely love using things like GitHub Copilot and ChatGPT when I'm coding. They're fantastic tools and they're really helpful. They're not quite at the point yet where they can make like an actual decent game, and it's something that's been discussed by a lot of people with regards to what is likely going to happen on platforms like Steam and probably Nintendo Switch as well, if I'm completely honest, where we just get this swathe of AI trash. And it's going to make, for one, it's going to make kind of standing out a little bit more difficult just because the pool is so much bigger. But it also means that probably indie game developers are going to have to work a lot harder to maintain credibility, which things like, you know, doing these live streams, working on games, and making the devlogs to document a process will be really helpful to actually keep independent game developers standing out above the AI shovelware developers that are going to emerge over the next year, because there will 100% be a massive swathe of basically what used to be asset flips now is just AI generated kind of soulless, lifeless stuff. And you know, probably the day will come where the pipeline for developing games is a lot more AI driven, and it's less a case of the skill set being someone sitting at a computer writing algorithms and coming up with stuff, and it will more be someone who understands how to engineer prompts properly and rearrange them in such a way that it builds exactly what the directors of the project want, rather than just being able to bash stuff together. But in any respect, I view a lot of the AI tools as quite a positive thing, because it does also lower the barrier of entry to people who aren't necessarily as good at code, and maybe they still want to be able to do stuff, but they can't actually build out a prototype for their idea very easily because they're on their own, don't know how to code, don't know how to make art, but they've got an amazing story in their head that they want to portray. Something like the AI tools gives them the ability to do that and potentially have a product that they can pitch to a publisher and say, this is the vision, I just need the resources to make it happen properly. And then the publishers can come along and provide the funding or developers or artists that the designer needs to execute on that idea. So I think, you know, you can either be one of the people who swears against it terribly and thinks it's the worst thing ever, or you can view it from the point of view as this is a progression, much like the introduction of game engines, high-level programming languages, things like Photoshop. You know, they were all just tools that made doing a job easier or more accessible, and that's exactly what AI is, if you ask me. Do the Windows forms count as an engine? Because you mainly use that. I mean, it's not a game engine. It's exactly like you say, it's a framework, the .NET framework. So it gives you like a bunch of default functions, behaviors, APIs that you can use for interfacing between the operating system, all of the, you know, graphical display stuff that Windows has, all the rest of it. It's more comparable to something like Bevy, I would say, or probably Love 2D as well. I think Love is more like a framework than an engine. To kind of draw up a basic definition to differentiate the two, a framework is, like I say, like a set of APIs and tools that allow you to interface with these things, and an engine is its own application with a bunch of preset features for handling the more complex elements of a specific problem. So in the case of game engines, that's things like physics implementations, low-level graphics implementations for rendering in 3D and 2D. So yeah, so a comparison might be that an engine gives you all of the stuff already there for just dragging and dropping a blend file into it and rendering it in 3D, whereas a framework gives you the API calls to be able to draw shapes on the screen, and it's then your job to write the code that takes a 3D object, a blend file, and converts that to the shapes that need to be drawn. So it's like an additional layer of abstraction over top. Cool. There we go. So when we engineer it, we'll give it a ping, we will increase our stocked oil, and we will return 0. Let's also make sure that we update our building data here as well. And that should be everything. We should have an oil rig implemented. So with all of that, let's see, we're at like an hour and 30. Go for like 30 more minutes, I guess. Maybe a little bit longer. We'll see, we'll see. So I'm just double checking that everything is as should be with the Discord server links, because I accidentally had my old link still available on Twitch instead of the new one. But I can see there are people coming in as expected, so fantastic, and welcome to any of the new members who have been watching the stream and have joined the Discord server. If you are enjoying the stream and haven't joined the Discord server already, go join it, because I am endeavoring to post more updates in there. What game am I working on? This is a game called Tirelands. It's actually available to play on Steam right now. There's a link in the description if you want to check it out. The premise is that it's a minimalist city building strategy game similar to something like Dorfromantik or Panorama, where you have to optimize the placement of your tiles to score maximum points and hit leaderboards. It's been played by Real Civil Engineer and Alexa on YouTube and is doing quite well, considering I didn't market it at all. So it's yeah, it's pretty decent. Sweet. Let's go ahead and actually, I think we can probably get rid of the engineerable tiles dictionary on our engineer and instead just check to see if the thing that we're stood on is an engineerable thing. So we'll just get the building and then we'll return occupied building dot try get component engineerable. And I think I can just discard that because we don't need to use it. So then, yeah, we don't need to stick any additional like sorting in the inspector on there. It just works out the box. So then the other thing that I want to do to keep in line with this feedback from the Steam user is to have it so that cities produce our engineers instead of producing workers, because that gives us some really good late game power, and we can add a lot of stuff to these engineers. That would be fantastic. Let's have a look. Not engineer, sorry, city. Going to be further up because it's alphabetical. City, it's got a quest creator, and we're going to update this with our engineer. Bang. Right, let's set ourselves up some testing so we can make sure this works. So we've got power station. I don't need the wind turbine anymore. Instead, I would like the city, and we'll make that 25. And I would also like the oil rig. And I think that's everything. I think that's everything. Should be everything. Biggest achievement as a developer is ping pong game, like those old mobile games or arcade games. I mean, that's brilliant. That's a perfect place to start as well with learning game design, because actually something really funny is that a game like Pong or Breakout or something like that, where you've got a ball bouncing around the place, the physics for that are actually kind of complex. A lot of engines have some method in them that will calculate the angle that it needs to bounce off at for you. But if you wanted to really challenge yourself and you wanted to understand how things are working properly, it's a decent approach to try and build those methods yourselves. Because actually there's Freya Homer, who is primarily a shader developer and tools developer in the Unity community. They've got a really good series on like maths for games, which is also something that I only just really started learning properly, because I was trying to do a whole bunch of stuff, and I've started learning like dots and ECS, and so there's a whole load of extra coding deep dive that I've had to go into to properly understand how things work under the hood and everything. Yeah, it is C# as well as the language. SOS. C# is great. I like it. Hot take, it's better than Python, and people will burn me at the stake for that, but I could never get used to Python for the lack of indentation. It just, or the lack of curly brackets and everything being indentation. It made me like, ugh, can't deal. Hey, look at that, we got an engineer. When activated, the engineer will be expended to upgrade time. Blah, blah, blah. That's not exactly true. I've got to rename it, but we'll do it. Yeah, I know. I know, it's hot takes on the coding. It's not that bad. Like I have used Python more, because I was similar with like JavaScript and things as well, which I basically took one look at them and was like, nah, not for me. But because my day job is DevOps engineering, which is like a lot of, it's basically sysadmin in a lot of places, but lots of infrastructure automation, infrastructure as code, and that's a lot of YAML, shell scripting, Python. So I've had more exposure and I'm more used to it, and I don't actually hate it that much, especially when it comes to doing machine learning stuff. Like Python is unrivaled for those kind of things. I'm just a pedant and getting old. It's quite funny. Right. Let's add some walkable tiles into my list here. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's efficient, that's for sure. It's all, you know, it's all dependent on use case. Like, I don't know if I would necessarily opt to use Python as my language of choice for developing games, even though there's good libraries out there, good frameworks for doing game development with Python, and even lots of developers who do use Python commercially, like the Fluffy Potato, who I absolutely love, and he makes some awesome games with Python, but it's not for me. I remember helping my brother out with his A-level IT project a few years ago, which was in Python, and he was remaking Pac-Man. And yeah, it's just when you get like an indentation somewhere down the bottom that's out of place, and it throws you an error for line 2, and you're like, I can't see the error on line 2, and it's because it's not indented properly. It's things like that that make it less developer-friendly experience for me personally. Anyway, back to setting up our engineer. I need to actually give it a bunch of walkable tiles. So this is all the different tiles that I want the engineer to be able to walk on. And it's basically going to be everything. So, you know, I'm going to lock this. I got down to the field. So I don't want it to walk on the fishing village. We definitely want it to be able to walk on the forest. Probably the lake. Maybe we can have that upgrade to something. Don't know about the lighthouse. Lumber mill, 100%. Marshland, 100%. Meadow. I'll say yes. I'll say yes. Monument, definitely. Mountain, for sure. Oasis, for sure. Ocean, no. Oil rig, for sure. Park, for sure. Basically, like anything that we want it to be able to traverse so that it can get to things it can upgrade. I'll have it, we can have it walk on the volcano. Maybe there could be something cool that we could do there. Cool. Right, now we can actually go ahead and test this thing properly. And I should probably make sure that the saving and loading is working correctly with the oil rig as well. So let me go ahead and update the 2-string. And once again, I'm going to steal from one of my other classes. This is going to be stocked. Oh, I've put this in the engineer quest. That's not what I meant to do. Not what I meant to do. Cool. Oil rig is where I want it. Override. 2-string. There we go. Right. Stocked oil. We're not going to generate power lines. We are just going to say stocks oil for use in power stations. And now you see I've got a good lesson that I want to put in place real quick before I say that. Hello, Chewy Banana. Thanks for stopping by. This is a game called Tilelands. It's similar to Dorfromantik and Panorama, games in that kind of space, where you're placing tiles onto a grid and scoring points based on the tiles around them, with the twist of also having upgrade rules between those tiles. So for example, if you surround an ocean with meadows or forests, the ocean will turn into a lake and score you even more points. So it's like a kind of mishmash of Islanders, Dorfromantik, and Urbo. Yeah, basically it. So my lesson that I was going to say is that I did not develop this game with translation or anything in mind. So I've got a lot of places where I'm hard coding names of things. And it's really bad because in an ideal world, what I would want to have is some database that keeps track of the strings. And then I can have a translation table to do those lookups instead of having them hard coded. But, you know, something that I'm potentially looking into is if I can find a publishing partner that would look to support us in publishing tile lands onto Nintendo Switch, because I think it would be really successful on that kind of platform. The majority of users who play it on Steam are playing it on the Steam Deck, so it feels like a no-brainer to try and put it on the Switch as well. But to do something like that, I would 100% want to have translations be supported in game. So that's probably something that I would want to look to embed. Can ChatGPT do the translation? Maybe. I probably wouldn't trust it to. I know there's a few places where people have said they've had all right results, but I would much rather just find a native speaker and pay them, so that I can, feel 100% sure of the result, at least for the time being. Maybe the day comes where AI translations are on point, because it's also then the question of like, why don't I just use Google Translate? Because honestly, Google Translate would probably be more accurate at translating than ChatGPT. But, knock the microphone. Right. There's my engineer. I want my engineer to wander over here onto my oil rig, but of course he didn't. He wandered over onto the power station instead. Thank you. Very cool. Did I not make the oil rig walkable? No, I did. Good. And he's created a big square. Fantastic. So I should hopefully see. I want to see this taking stocked coal. It's not taking stocked coal at the moment. But why? It's probably because I haven't set the oil rig data. That would make a lot of sense. That would make a lot of sense. So power station, unlock the inspector, city data, oil rig data. Yep, empty. Let's update that. And what I'm going to do is just go ahead and end the game, which saves my progress. And then we can see that the engineer is working properly as well. Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, I would not say no. And I would, of course, pay you for that. Like I say, I have very... Oh no, what have I done? Oh no, what have I done? Hold on, hold on. Hold on. Tooltip Manager 14. Okay, what have I done? Hold the phone, hold the phone. Does anyone know what the deck looked like? What was in the deck? Because I have not been paying enough attention. But whatever was at the top of the deck. Was it a city? Was it a power station? It could have been a power station. It was a power station. Why is this? Is it because my deck hasn't been initialized at the point where the tooltip manager is trying to set the thing? Hold on, let me get back to chat so I can see what's going on. yeah, I've just checked through on the replay. I'm going to start a new game. and I'm going to save, and then I'm going to continue, and I'm going to see if we still end up with things being completely, absolutely busted. So, because if that's the case, that's a new bug, I think. Oh god, what have I done? So what this is likely to be is something in the game manager. Yeah, game manager 86, game manager 55, game manager 111. So we initialize our bindings. Q.peak. Wait. Have I messed up my database? Okay, so we're going to get a little sneak peek at the save data right now. I'm just going to go through and pull this up real quick. Bear with me. Thailand, save data. Thailand save data. We're going to open that with text edit. So here we go. This is what the save data looks like. Oh gosh, it's completely empty. Oh gosh, why is it completely empty? That's concerning. That's concerning. Or is it this? Is this the actual save data? No, that's the things that are... Maybe that is the actual save data. No, this isn't the actual save data. So this is the this is a list of all of the unlocked tiles, basically. So like in game, when we go to the tile browser, things here show as unlocked. That's what that other save file is, but this main one that's got like this should not be should not be like this. It should have all of our deck data in it, which means somewhere I've stopped saving the game. Jeez. Dry throat. Ugh. Where am I going to have made a change that stops the game from saving? Delete the game save, submit the score to the leaderboard. I don't need to worry about that bit. It's likely to be in my pause menu. Trigger restart, trigger quit game. We save the game, load the scene. Oh, am I going to have broken all of my data binding somewhere? Oh, I hope not. That would be absolutely abysmal. Yeah, because that's all in order. Data service.save, game data. And when we init our bindings, yep, we're just grabbing all that stuff there. So, unless it's like, no, because it is loading the game. I'm loading the game in the main menu. Where, yep, load the game with the same save data file name. Am I also saving to that location? I think I am. Data service.save, game data. What implementation of data service am I using? Data service.load. Look for a file with that name. So that's fine, because the file is there. The file's just empty. Ooh, that's concerning. That is concerning. I'm trying to think what could have messed that up. That's doing all of our binding, so all of that's still in order. So if let me smack down a power station and then end the game. Reopen our session save. Where am I getting session save from? That's where I'm getting session save from. That's not the save data file name. That's just the save. That's like the game name. Save data file name. That's fine. Yeah, I wonder why that's empty all of a sudden. It's saving the score correctly. Just not saving the data for everything else. What have I done? I bind. So yeah, available building IDs is it's got data there. It just doesn't it doesn't have the right data. Oh Lord. I actually don't know what could be making this, what could be causing this issue, because I haven't touched the save system since it's something with the way it's writing though, that's for sure. I wonder if I can, this might be an opportunity to make use of the plastic SCM browser so I can look at file history and diff some things. And this is why we use source code management. Right. Tile game, I want to look at my branch explorer. Oh, is this where I'm going to find out that I haven't like done any changes in a really long time? Full save system. So that's what's currently pushed up. Can I inspect this, please? Wait. Show pending changes. What have we got? There's not actually anything on here that's changed. Around the save system, at least. What are we looking at? It's all quest stuff that's moved and changed. Nothing to do with the save system. It's all quest data. It's just moved places. Entity data. That's all fine. And then, yeah, it's all grid systems. That tiny change on the settings manager. Okay, so it's nothing in there. Which makes me think it's probably something that I've done when I was actually doing the save updates, but this all happened on stream and everything worked on stream. So I don't know. Don't know what could have caused that. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. Nothing weird going on there. So, what am I missing? What am I missing? Tell you what, I'm going to just have a look here. I'm going to delete my session save. I don't think this isn't gonna fix anything for sure. But at least I can guarantee that I'm generating myself a fresh save. Yeah, cool. New nameless save. So we've got nothing in there. On my save system. This is all empty. If I go new game. Nice. That gives us all of our things. I'm going to play a thing just to get some score. Current score is 10. Available building IDs, 9 of them. Go here. End game. Yes, I'm sure. That has created me a save file. And that now has a bunch of stuff. And now it's working. Oh god. Every developer's worst nightmare when you don't change anything and suddenly it works. Oh, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. We'll let it happen. But I'm not gonna be happy about it. It could well be because I was in prefab view. And so it wasn't actually updating any of the things. Let's check to see if this is working now still. Save the game. So if I stop, that resets it to its current state. Hit play again. That's loaded the game. I can hit continue. And everything's working as expected. Okay, okay. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on that one, because that's weird. Right, let's get our engineer to wander over to one of these things. And we're looking to get this taking... I did update the oil rig, didn't I? Not the oil rig, sorry. The power station. I did. Good. Nothing is null. Fantastic. Stick this one down here. There he goes. Bang. Oh. That's fine. So he just moved. We now have 15 stocked coal on this. I don't know why it pinged this oil rig and not this one. But it's doing the things that it needs to do in terms of moving stuff around. And that means I can then activate that. There's 2 expenses on that dude. And 3 expenses. So I should see him disappear. But I'm not seeing him disappear. So the worker, not the worker, sorry, the engineer is just not expending. And he's also pinging like a madman. So let's try and fix him. And then we'll probably wrap up. Did I? I did. Good. Engineer quest. So yeah, we activate the thing. I want to make sure I reset all of like the selected stuff. Make sure that's all on point. How long did it take me to complete this game? With lots of procrastination and working part-time, 8 months. So I actually made a full video about it on the channel, actually, which I'd highly recommend you watch, of course. But yeah, it was basically, I started coming up with the idea in December of 2022, December of 2022. Put it on ice for a little bit, had the idea sort of ready in my head by February, made the first prototype over the course of February, and then developed it over the course of that year and released in completion fully on the 1st of November 2023. That was also with a demo going out shortly after Steam Next Fest in June of 2023. So this is a small scope game. Yeah, 8 months with multiple long breaks, and working a regular day job alongside as well. Yeah, we check completion, do the thing where we ping, and then it's because I'm not actually increasing the activation count. So let's do that. Activation count ++. And we also want to make sure that when we activate him, we set selected. I can't do that. What's the thing that I do on Abstract Quest to actually make these do what they're doing? Abstract Quest. What did I do? I broke the script. That's what I did. There's a thing that I've done somewhere for selecting things. Oh wait, no, maybe I just need to put a delay in here instead of like doing the thing. I need to just have it wait. So we engineer the thing. This is probably where we want to do the ping stuff. So let's do a yield return new wait for seconds. I don't think I have. No, I don't. I think it's abstract building dot. Yeah, it's private though. Okay, fine. Let's just say 0.125 for now. We don't like magic numbers. Don't do magic numbers. And let's also do occupied tile dot position controller dot ping. Let's go 0.5. And then, yeah, upgrading tiles should be fine because we're doing a yield return clear tile, which takes time anyway. Yeah. And then after this, once we check that this is all as should be, we'll probably call it a day. Oh, I just hit new game. That's not what I wanted to do. Genius. At least we got a city first. That's handy. Bang. It did indeed ping it. It's just kind of, you can't really see it. So it's going to be a case of, there we go. That pinged it. But he's floating. It doesn't reset his position when he moves. So weird. So weird. Okay. Oh, and then he went. And yeah, the power station took the stuff from the one, so everything is as should be. I just need to do some stuff to work on the visual feedback for that because it's a bit poor. Not gonna lie, but cool. That's good. Working on your Pong game a week ago, added some text boxes saying you lose and win, then stop development. Just now decided to open it up, and mind you did not change anything. The system stopped working. You haven't got a clue in the world why. Legit, I feel you. I feel you. It is painful. Yeah, I wish I could help you. Unfortunately, I have the same problem. Such is the struggle of being a game developer, I guess, or a software engineer in general for that matter. But on that note, we've been streaming for just over 2 hours, and I think that's probably a good place to wrap up. We made some decent progress today. The update is going well. So I would like to take the opportunity to say thank you everyone so much for coming and watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, consider subscribing. There is a link in the description to join the Discord server if you want to stay up to date with other stuff that's going on. I've been a little bit quiet in there for the past couple of weeks while I'm like rearranging how I'm approaching this. But I'm going to be punting a load more stuff out there soon. There's also a link to the Patreon page where I post daily updates around what I'm doing with the studio as a business, along with the games that we're working on. That covers stuff like stuff that's happening with the website, deals that we're doing with external projects, all the rest of it. So if you're interested in more of the business side of things and you want to help support the studio, please consider checking that out. And with that, thank you very much. I will see you next time.